Hey guys, it's me again, Sonia, and I'm a Nigerian YouTuber based in Toronto, Canada. I'm here again with my fake British accent, and y'all get used to it. I do have a couple of accents that I like to use, and my British accent is one of them. You may wonder, where did I get this British accent from? Well, in case you did not know, I did grow up in the UK for about 8 years of my life. I think I went there when I was like 2 and came back when I was like 10. There was a break in between, like a 1-year break or something, but yeah. So that's why the British accent. But yes, welcome if you're new here. Thank you for coming. Please subscribe, please like, and become a follower, become part of this family. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back, for watching and for commenting. I really appreciate those of you that engage with my videos by commenting and stuff. And I just really appreciate you, because it's not easy making videos when people are not really engaging with them. But making these videos sometimes is like a release for me. It just makes me, I like doing stuff like this, so it's a release for me. It's kind of things I've been doing from time, but not necessarily on YouTube, but it's just in my personality. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm here to talk about buying a car in Canada. When you're moving to Canada, you need to know if you need a car. If you're coming alone, you don't necessarily need a car. If you're coming with children or family, you might need a car at some point, but maybe not immediately. It also depends on your budget. Options: buying a car outright, that will most probably a used car, financing, or leasing. I bought a car outright and I've also leased a car, but I have not financed a car. So when I came, I knew that I needed a car because I was living in the suburbs, and usually if you're living in the suburbs, you're probably going to need a car because it's like more like a necessity, because there's not a lot of transport or they do have their local buses and whatever, but it's not like situated in every place, and it's not always as often, or it doesn't come as often as some other buses, especially the TTC, like the ones in Toronto. It doesn't always come as often as those, so it can be a bit difficult moving around. If you're living in the suburbs, you're probably going to need a car, especially because I had a kid, getting to daycare, getting to work. I did it with like using public transit for a while, and it was not the easiest thing, but it was not cold yet, so it wasn't so bad. It wasn't like snowing yet by the time it started snowing, I already had a car, so it was much easier for me. But so the times I was taking my son by myself was September, going up and down by myself, like to daycare, then to work, was like September, early October, because I got the car in October, I think late October. And I got a car that gave me so much trouble, and I just told myself, you know what, I can't do this. But I did use the car till March before I got a new one, and so I am grateful that the car did get me through the winter pretty much. By the time I got my new car in March, it was not as cold. The snow had pretty much reduced, and so it did get me through it, but it was not with its troubles. Like, I would not be confident to drive on the road. I would be scared driving sometimes, because I'm like, what if this car just fails on me? I did have to get CAA. I think it had failed on me at some point. That's why I had to get CAA. I had so many issues with that car. So one thing I do advise, when you're buying a car outright, make sure you get a trusted, find out from people around you what mechanics they use, who they feel is reliable, and then get that person to check the car you're planning on buying to make sure there's no issues. I was so trusting because the person I was buying a car from is my cousin's friend. She was moving to Alberta, so she was looking for who to sell her car to. So I just felt like, this is my cousin's friend. She knows I have a kid. She won't sell a car to me that's going to give me issues. And you know what? She probably didn't know that it was going to give me all those issues. It's an old car. It was a 2009 Nissan Versa, but it had been driven a lot, because I think by the time I got it, it was almost 200,000 kilometers or something like that. So she, with such cars, problems are going to happen, and she may not know that maybe at the time she was giving it to me, it didn't have any problems. She probably had fixed whatever problems she thought it had, and there was one thing she told me that was an issue, and I was like, okay, fine. But then, along the way driving it, other things were coming up, and I was just like tired. I was like, I don't need this stress. I can't be suffering and smiling. I can't do it. It happened to me with the car, my first and only car I had in Nigeria. It gave me issues as well. And it was also a Nissan, so maybe I'm not just like meant to drive Nissans. Maybe they just don't go with me or something. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it was terrible. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a new car. So when I would go around, and the mistake I made is when I'm like shopping around for new cars, I did not know that them checking my credit was going to really affect me. So I have a lot of credit checks on my credit report, which was a mistake I made. So make sure, even when you're shopping around for new cars, that you don't allow them check your credit. You can tell them what your credit is and ask them the questions you want. And when you're sure about the car you want to get and you're ready to get it, then you can allow them check your credit. And then, you proceed with the application or whatever when you're getting it. So I did find out about financing, but I realized that because I hadn't been in my job for a long time, it was always an issue. It was an issue getting a financing, getting car to finance. And the creditors would require that I put a down payment for the financing. And I wasn't ready to put a down payment because, like I said, I didn't have any money, didn't have any savings. The car that I bought outright was $2,000, and when I was selling it, I sold it for like $1,100 or whatever. But I'm sure I spent maybe like $4,000 altogether on that car with all the stuff I had to do to it and for it. And so yeah, the financing did give me a little bit of trouble. And one of the pits, because I was trying to get a Hyundai Kona, and they did check my credit a lot of the time, and I didn't understand why, because it's like, it's one company, it's one dealership. Why are you checking my credit so many times and affecting my credit score? And I didn't even end up getting the car because it's like they wanted me to pay a down payment, and I didn't want to get a down payment. I did more research and I found out that they're actually more lenient on leases. So if I wanted to get a lease, they wouldn't have required me to do a down payment. So I eventually did get a lease. But I decided to go with another car because by then I had seen other cars, talked to more people about cars. And I saw one car that used to be parked in my office then, in my workplace then, and I loved it. And I was like, okay, I want that car. And it was a Subaru Crosstrek, and I know that all Subarus that are all-wheel drives, and I wanted an all-wheel drive because of the snow and whatever. I wanted like a crossover vehicle, like crossover between a sedan and an SUV. So I got a CUV. When you're getting these things, usually they also require your credit score to be good, and that you should have a credit score, a credit history of some sort. So by then I did have a credit history. I think I tried to get the finance with Hyundai earlier in the year, like January or something. It didn't work out. I went again in March and tried with Subaru and got a lease. And I don't even think they checked my credit because I didn't see the check on my report. But they did give me the lease. I got a 3 years lease. The car is about 30,000, so the 3 years was about 15,000 or so, and I was paying about 435 a month, which seems a lot, but I figured, I didn't put any down payment, and it was like a good car. It wasn't an expensive car, and it wasn't so bad for me because my rent then was much cheaper. So, and when I was looking for a house after the first place, I was budgeting like $1,400, and so because I got somewhere to rent for less than $1,000, I was like, okay, the extra $400 that I was looking to spend on accommodation, I could put it towards a car. And that is when I made up my mind that I'm not interested in owning a car because I don't want to be bothered with maintenance and having to take it to the mechanics at some point, or having to actually resell it at some point. I feel having to sell a car is stress, and it's not something I wanted to go through. So I was like, I don't need to own a car. I would rather lease cars every 2-3 years, get new cars every 2-3 years if I have to have a car. So that is why I went with leasing. Now, if you're trying to choose between leasing and financing, the major difference is that financing, you get to own your car. With leasing, you don't get to own the car. Financing, you get unlimited mileage. With leasing, you don't get unlimited mileage. You have a set mileage, and you can pay for extra mileage at the end of the term. And it's not usually very expensive, but some people don't want that. So if you're planning to do stuff like Uber, like proper Uber, not Uber Eats or whatever, those ones you can still do it with a lease. But if you're trying to do like Uber or Lyft or whatever, then don't do leasing, because you're going to run up all your mileage and spend money on that. But it may not be so bad paying for it, you know, at the end of the time, the extra mileage at the end of the day, because you may have made a lot of money from Uber anyways. But it's better to probably just do the financing if you're doing Uber. And then also you need to check the insurance before you buy the car. Like, check the insurance, because different cars have different insurance. It affects your insurance rate. Like, different cars have different effects on your insurance rates. Also, where you live has an effect on your insurance rates. So you should check about the car that you're trying to get and see what the amount is before you get it, so you know if you're comfortable with it. I was paying a huge amount for insurance, mostly because I was new. I didn't have like history for my insurance, so, and it was quite a lot, but I wasn't really bothered by it, because I was paying for the insurance from the money Canada gives me for my son, so I didn't feel it at that point. But when I moved to Toronto, it became more like a very expensive convenience for me. It became more like a luxury. It was no longer a necessity, because I couldn't drive it to work, because to park at work cost me a lot of money, so I couldn't drive it to work, so I was using the bus, so the car was always just parked and I wasn't using it as much, and so it didn't make sense to have the car. So I decided to look for a way to get rid of it. I spoke to the dealership. They said I can't give it back to them because that will cost me more money, and it would like show on my credit or my record that, you know, I didn't go through with the whole period. So they said the other option I had was to find someone to take over my lease. So I looked for someone to transfer my lease to, and I used this company called Lease. They also do help with finance transfer. You could also use like Facebook, put ads on Facebook, put ads on Kijiji, on Let Go, if you're trying to transfer your lease. But I just felt like, because this is like a known company, you do have to pay them a fee. I think I paid them like $300 to put it there. That's a one-time fee, and it can be there on there for as long as you need it to until you sell it, pretty much. I eventually found someone. There's also something that's not very uncommon that most people do when they're trying to transfer their lease. They offer an incentive, because it's like, okay, I might as well go to the dealership and get the lease for myself. Why must I get it from you? So sometimes people offer incentives, and I was willing to offer 2 months off, you know, pay the person 2 months upfront to take the lease. But at the same time, it's also an advantage for them, because they end up getting the car cheaper. Like, if their idea was to buy the car at the end of the term, I've already paid off like a year plus of the vehicle for them, so they end up getting it cheaper than they would if they went from the beginning by themselves. So I don't know about that incentive, but I was willing to do that because I just really wanted to get rid of the car and start saving money. But God did it. I was patient. Like, lots of people came to me, but I was patient enough, and some rich guy came and got it for his daughter. I'll put part of that on this video. So I'm here at Subaru to transfer my lease to someone else, letting go of my car, finally. Wish me all the best. I'm gonna miss it a little, but I'll be fine. I'll find other ways to move around, cheaper ways.
How much are we up to now, about?
Over there?
The damage?
Maybe around 100 bucks.
Going on a ride in this baby. That's your wrist like that. So, here are the documents. I think it has everything in it.
Okay.
Is everything fine?
Yeah, it's great. Oh my god, it was so fun.
Oh, the
did
CAA.
you want to keep the car mount?
I will take that off.
No, you can keep
sure?
it. Yeah, you can
Okay,
keep
thank
it.
you.
I'm not gonna.
You want to check it to see if there's any stuff left in it, or?
I checked this morning. It's
Okay.
fine. I left that on purpose. I was like, you
thank
could
you.
use it.
It works really well.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you so
car.
much.
Bye to my former car and its new owner. Bye, guys. And so all I had to do was pay for the transfer fee, and he was even offering to like pay half of it for me, but because during COVID I deferred my payments, he was going to end up paying more than he was supposed to. I deferred 2 of my payments, so he's going to pay 2 months extra than he should have if I had made those payments. So I was like, you know what, I'll just handle the lease and the lease transfer fee, and you just continue with your payments. So it was so easy and seamless to transfer it to him, and now I'm out of that loan or whatever, and I'm free, and I can save my money, and I can, you know, plan my life better. And people wonder, how are you going to manage with your child? You don't have a car, don't you need it? Well, where I live is very like essential, and I can get to everywhere I need to get to. My son's school's not far, we walk to school, grocery stores all around me. So I do a lot of bike riding. I use the bus and the subway, which is not bad because I don't go out that much anyways. The occasional times I use Uber, and all this does not add up to even half of what I was paying a month for that car. So I'm fine. I probably will get a car eventually, a cheap car as well, and do the right thing by getting a mechanic to look at that car. I'll probably try and get something for $3,000 less, but that will be next year, because right now I just want to enjoy not paying any fees. Get a third-party liability insurance on it, and just use it for errands, you know, because I have a kid, it is a convenience that I would like to have eventually, but for now I'm just gonna chill. It just makes life easier. It's not a necessity, because I feel like Toronto is not really made for people to have cars, but it's a convenience that I could use because I do have a kid. You know, if it was just me, I wouldn't even think of getting a car again. We have gotten used to using the bus and the subway now. I use it with him. Yeah, so to me, leasing is generally cheaper, because it's like when you're trying to buy the car, they put more taxes and more fees or something for you when you're trying to buy the car. So you may end up paying less, but you're paying for a longer term, and you're probably gonna have put down a deposit, like some payment up front. So when you look at all of that, when you calculate everything, you're probably actually paying more. You actually are paying more to finance, but the advantage is that you're paying more to own the car. For leasing, it might seem like you're paying less, but you're not going to own the car. So that's also something you need to consider when you're making your decision. Like, do you really need to own the car? If you don't, then that's fine. Also, something I did get was I got a wear pass on the lease, because when you get a lease, you're going to have to return the car to them, and it has to be in good condition, especially like the outside, like the cosmetic whatever has to be in good condition. The car has to be in good condition. You can't have scratches and all this stuff. If it does, you're gonna have to like make it look good before you return it to them. So what I did was get a wear pass, which covers like $4,000 worth of cosmetic damages, and you know, it allows you to bring your tires flat and used, and it also covers about 1,000 or 2,000 kilometers extra. So I did get that just for peace of mind. So even when I was transferring my lease to someone else, they were able to, that passed on to them. So it was also like an incentive for them to get the car, because they know when they're returning the car, that will cover whatever damages that there was on the car. And I didn't damage the car in the 1+ years that I drove it, so that was good. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share. Comment if you have any experiences, you want to share your experiences in buying a car, if you have anything you want to add to what I've said. And don't forget to share, because it might be useful to some. This information might be useful to someone. Some people have never heard about Lease Buster. Thank you again for watching. Bye for now. Talk to you guys soon.